Hi everybody. Still dealing with a little bit of cold weather here in Colorado. So I figured I'd shoot it in the front seat. So I had a request from a family member who remembered a fun story I had about, well, it's not really fun, about a story of me rescuing someone who had fallen through the ice when I was in the Army. And since it's so kind of cold and crappy these last few days, I figured I'd share this story with you and maybe you'd enjoy it. So the scene is, I'm in the Army. It is early spring, and me and my Army buddies went out for a bike ride. And there's a lot of, in Germany, there's a lot of bike paths through the woods. It's really cool like that. It's similar to Colorado, where there's so many bike paths everywhere. And so we were going on a bike path, and we were all in our hooded sweatshirts and our hats and long sweatpants and stuff. It was before fleece really got popular, so everyone wore cotton back then. And we're all out on bike rides, and we made our way around to these lakes, and these were lakes people ice skated at. And so there was an actual lake there where people were ice skating, and there was it was nice and thick, obviously, because everyone's ice skating, and we were like, oh, that's cool. Too bad we don't have ice skates. And so we're going around. There were several lakes, or maybe ponds, small lakes, depending on what part of the country you're from, what you consider a lake. And so we're going around this very large pond, maybe a small lake, and you could see it was half water. And it was far away from the other one, but it was like half water, and then there was ice on the other half. And we were riding around it on the bike path, and this guy was throwing his ball, and the ball went out on the ice, and of course it slid because it was ice, and it went out about 100 feet. The guy was throwing it on the ice, but you know, he was keeping it right near the shore, and this was like a little terrier, this dog that he was throwing the ball for, maybe 20 pounds, just a little guy. Throwing the ball, and he threw it too far, or it hit something and it skipped and went way out, and the dog went chasing it out onto the ice, and he went out about 100 feet and boom, fell right through the ice, the little dog. And it was only maybe 15 or 20 feet from the edge of the ice where it was water. So I mean, it was obviously thin ice for this little 20-pound dog. So anyway, this guy starts taking his jacket off, and we were kind of hanging out, just talking and stuff, where we're going to go next, because we were kind of close to, you know, to town. We're going to go to a pub somewhere and get a beer or something. And when I'm watching this guy going, that dude, he was he was like 6'4". He was very overweight, heavy guy, 6'4" and overweight. I'm like, what does he think he's going to do? He can't go out and get that dog. And so anyway, we're watching. So now we all just stop and watch. So he gets on his belly and starts scooching across the ice. Well, about 80 feet out, what do you think happens? Boosh, right through the ice. He falls through. And the dog swims over, or enough ice broke around him, the dog got to him. Or maybe he was close enough that the ice broke. Right, so the dog got to him, and he just pushed the dog up and the dog ran back to shore. Well, then the guy starts slapping the ice, trying to break it. He broke maybe 5 feet of ice, but then it was too heavy. And he has his arms up to his armpits holding on to the ice, but he has no grip or way to get up. And so we're just standing there watching about 100 feet away, just watching, and I'm like, oh crap. And everyone, and my friends are like, there were like 4 of us. There were 4 of my friends with me, so there were 5 of us. And he goes underneath, and his hands were still up, and he comes up, and he's getting tired because it was cold. And after about 5 minutes of that, I'm like, he's not going to make it. And I'm like, okay, guys, let's go. We need to make a human chain and go rescue him. And they all looked at me like, are you freaking crazy? We're not going. He just fell through. And I'm like, you're not just going to leave him there to die. And he's there. One of them said, better him than me. And I'm like, oh, that's not, no way, no way. And so I ran over to the lady, and on my way running over, he went under, and he didn't come up for maybe 10 or 15 seconds. It was pretty scary, and he popped back up, and I was like, if he goes under again, I don't think he's going to come up. So I took off my sweatshirt that I was wearing, and then and put it aside in case I got wet. I was like, well, at least I have something to keep me warm if I get wet in the ice. And I said, give me his jacket. So I took his jacket, and I yelled over to my friends. I was like, are you going to help me save this guy? And they're like, no. And I was just like, okay. And so I got on my belly with his jacket that he had taken off before he went out there, scooched over on my belly, slid out to him, and he was holding on because he saw me coming. And so I got close enough to him to throw the jacket so he could reach it with both his hands. And then I pulled him up onto the ice, and he just plump, slid up on the ice and then immediately crashed back through. But then we had the plan. So again, I scooched back, threw it to him, and pulled him back up on the ice. And he didn't speak any English, and I spoke very little German. And so I tried to say, going, stay away, stay away. And he was, frantic to get back. And I'm trying to scooch backwards as he's scooching towards me, but he was faster than me. He wanted to get off that ice. And so anyway, he got too close to me. We got like nose to nose, and boom, we both went through the ice because we were that close to each other.